7:48, it's been a weekend filled with twists and turns in the case of missing 4-year-old Madeline McCann. On Friday, the girl's mother and then later her father were named suspects in her disappearance. By Sunday, her parents headed back home to Britain, pointing the finger back at investigators. They say they are innocent, that authorities are just pressured to solve the case. Madeline's godfather spoke about the developments.
Appalled, but I'm also frustrated. You know, I've worked very, very hard with Kate and Jerry in the campaign to find our missing child and our missing Madeline. And what we're worried about truly is that this investigation, or this new line that the Portuguese police are taking, is going to derail those real efforts.
It's been a heart-wrenching and often confusing case, shrouded with suspicions and finger-pointing. And today, the Portuguese police expect to hand that case to the public prosecutor's office. So exactly what's going on? Here is local legal expert and attorney Rick Alexander back on the morning show. What is going on? If they're giving a case to the prosecutor, it would seem to me that there is a suspect. If those suspects were indeed the parents who had been named the other day, why would they allow them to leave Portugal and not have confiscated their passports?
It's a strange combination of circumstances, isn't it? When they say they're going to turn over a case to the prosecutor, that tells me that they've got something on the parents that they're pursuing. And because you're going to turn over the name of the suspects, that means they're excluding other people. So in that regard, it sounds like, well, maybe they have something. On the other hand, they let them leave. They've got different legal situation over there, different rules and so forth, but it's kind of strange.
Well, let's talk about some of the evidence that at least has been made public. And we'll certainly learn more today if that case is handed over to the prosecutor. They said that they found specks of blood in a rental car.
Right.
That led them to name the parents as suspects.
Right.
But all reports indicate that that rental car hadn't been contracted until 25 days after Madeline's disappearance. The godfather there said, look, I think that they're grasping at straws here. They're under intense pressure to try and solve this case. Are they collapsing under that pressure, Portuguese investigators?
Well, let's look at that. I mean, let's suppose they find some DNA evidence of the child, one in the condominium. Well, of course, it's going to be there. If it's a rental car they had at the time, that doesn't really tell us much. The child was in the car. We know that. What would be troubling is if they rent this car 25 days after she disappears, and then we find some kind of bodily fluid from the child. But this is all speculation at this point. I mean, the police aren't talking about it. We're getting leaks and so forth, and a lot of it's coming from the parents themselves describing the kind of questions they were asked. So
let me ask you about that line of questioning, because some of the analysis that I was privy to, that I read, indicated that they formally named them suspects because there were a list of 22 specific questions that they couldn't ask them unless they had pointed the finger of blame, and also to provide them with certain legal protections.
Right. And this is complicated by the fact that you have British citizens in Portugal. And on top of that, there are new rules under the European Union, which brings all of Europe together, which creates a relationship between the British citizens and the Portuguese. And in fact, you could be charged with a crime in Portugal and actually tried in Britain, is one of the weird
Could that explain then why they allowed them to go ahead and go back home?
It could, but I can't imagine, you know, would they use a British jury system? Would you use the Portuguese system in Britain? I think it would be much easier to just keep him in Portugal.
It's a very convoluted case, and the twists and turns are inexplicable.
Yes.
You know, when you apply the same rules that we have here to what's going on in Portugal. So I guess we just have to adopt a wait-and-see attitude. I
would suggest that until we find out more.
All right, Rick Alexander, thanks for being here. Appreciate your input.
Enjoyed it.
So, a program that helps soldiers